Hello everyone and welcome to Road Atlanta for another round of the Porsche Flat 6 series. Round 5 to be precise. And as you can see on the screen I'm about to switch to... What on earth? Oh, never mind, that was just...
To love, to trust, and to respect you.
Okay, never mind, I'm just... what? Okay, well that was weird. It looks as if... I muted my sound on Twitch, but for some reason it's still giving me the sound of the advert, which is bizarre. But anyway, I'll just mute that until the advert finishes, and then and then maybe. Right, there we go. Can I still hear it? No, everything's fine. Right, let's try that again. Hello everyone, and welcome to Road Atlanta for round 5 of the Porsche Flat 6 series, where today, as you can see, we will have a very, very close championship, or we already do have a very, very close championship, because the top drivers are separated, well, the top 4 drivers are separated by just 6 points, and 6 points is really a very, very small margin indeed, so that means that really all is to play for here, and with Daniele Vitamari, who is 3rd at the moment, having to miss a round due to getting a new computer today. Sadly for him, that means he might well be put out of contention. It depends what happens to his opponents. It'll certainly drop him far behind the best of them here. But Mikel Nizio, Thomas Fuck, and Tiziano Urbanati have a real job on their hands to claw back as many points as they can to each other, and also ahead of Vidamari, who of course is missing this round. Also, 5th in the championship is Lukas Kravtsuk. I haven't seen him here yet today, so Kravtsuk, I'm not sure whether he will be here or not. There are a couple of people high up in the orders that I haven't seen yet. Marek Cieslak is another one. Also is Nuno Miguel Abreu, but I can announce that Anita Kelly is in the server, and that's very good to see her back, because she is a very quick driver. We saw her winning a couple of races earlier on in the season. She was at the top of the leaderboard after Daytona, and sadly had to miss two races due to personal reasons, but is back today, so it's very good to see her in the field, and we will see what she can do. 9th in the championship at the moment is Steve Serpent, who is here, and 10th is Mark Robinson, who is also here. Now, if we go to the Teams Championship, you can see that at the top of the order is Crypto Racing Team with 140 points, but they are being chased very closely by RSI Kapisic, I'd say, despite the fact neither of the drivers of RSI Kapisic, or is that Capiche? What? I'm not very good at that. Okay, well, anyway, neither of them I have seen yet. Hopefully they do turn up. Marabia Rebellion are missing Nuno Miguel Abreu. They've gained Bruno Gill in his place. But we'll see how that goes, because... oh no, that's a different Moravia car, isn't it? Bruno Gill's for ST0. Never mind, I don't know what I'm talking about there. Anyway, so that is the championship, of course. We are at Road Atlanta for round 5 here. It will be 18 laps for both races. Next time out, we will be going to Lime Rock Park in a week's time, and then after that, Mid-Ohio, and then the championship finale at Virginia International Raceway. But without further ado, let's get into the qualifying session now, of which we have 26 minutes remaining. At the top of the order at the moment, we do have Nuno Miguel Abreu, so it looks as if he has made it in. In fact, we have 15 drivers on the grid today, and Abreu is leading by 0.6 of a second ahead of Thomas Fuck, and then it's Samuel Riveda, Steve Serpent, just called Steve, interestingly, in the server, but that is Steve Serpent. Mark Robinson, just exiting the pits. Ignore the fact the pit lane is very shiny. It looks like it's rained. It hasn't. That's just the DX9 graphics playing up. And you'll notice throughout this event that the curbs look a bit shinier than they should be as well. They almost act as a perfect mirror as the car goes over them, which is very interesting indeed. But I'm afraid you'll just have to get used to that today. Jorge Alves, who is going off and across the grass, is racing one of the Rebellion cars. And after him is the very, very flamboyantly liveried Harry Graham, followed by Tiziano Urbanati, Tom Davison, Lee Blackmore, Alexander Meshkov, that'll do it, David Plummer, Martin Brandon, and of course Anita Kelly. So that is the order so far. Who is going quicker? Well, we've seen that Thomas Wack has put himself just half a second away from Abreu in first. What about Bruno Gill, who puts himself over the curb on the inside? Here you see the shiny curbs I was talking about. Oh, as he runs pretty hard over the inside curb there. Talking of curbs, curbs are definitely something to take into consideration today, because some of them are extremely high and extremely hard. Turn 5 is one in particular that the drivers have all been talking about, which basically just flings the car as soon as you drive over it. And also the chicane that Bruno is heading down towards now is extremely difficult as well as you run over the curbs. The drivers will be wanting to avoid the sausage curbs at all cost. And you will see that now as Gil will go over the inside curb. He's clipped that quite a few times, and I've seen him roll a couple of times in the test server before this, as I've seen plenty of other drivers roll as well, it should be said. Now let's see where this puts Bruno Gill. He's third at the moment as he crosses the line, and I believe he's gone over the timing line, so he stays third for now. And Abreu has gone even quicker, 9/10 ahead of Thomas Wack in second. Samuel Riveda, I believe, is on a quicker lap, but actually let's watch the drivers we haven't seen put in a lap yet. So, for example, Tom Davison, who I believe is on a lap now. This is the car that looks like it's had sticky notes posted all over it. And Davison is just lapping at a... Well, this is his first lap, so we don't know what sort of pace. We'll have to see when he crosses the line. Looks to have... Ooh, as he clobbers the curb on the inside, but that's one of the curbs you can get over. Looks to have had a couple of little twitches in that sector, so I'm wondering what this lap's going to be. It's probably not going to be right at the top of the order, but we'll see what he can do nonetheless. Now down towards the chicane, listed as corners 10A and 10B, interestingly. Keep it off the sausage curbs, he does. Keep it off those sausage curbs, he does. Ooh, bit of a twitch. Someone's bumper is missing on the outside there. Now through the turns 11 and 12, Tom Davidson, out of the final corner. Where does this put him? I don't believe that last lap was timed. Let's see. It wasn't. So it looks as if he's going on to a lap now. What must have happened is that he must have been on a lap before and then abandoned it, and this is his first actual lap. He did appear to be pushing a bit on that out lap, I suppose, but well, maybe that's just to give him more time for more laps in the session. We'll see. So this is Davison's first flying lap, and I've just realised I haven't got a button set for change camera, so I'm just going to sort that out quickly and probably lag everything in the process. That'll do. It's not controls I'm looking for, is it? It's difficulty. Oh wait, it is controls. What am I doing? Why is everything lagging so badly? Okay, I think I will abort mission here. If you can still hear me and I'm not lagging too much. Can I go back to standings? There we go. Right. What if I pause the session? Oh, I can't pause the session. That's not working. That button? Okay, I'll just ignore it. This is all a bit weird. Anyway, Tom Davidson ran over the grass slightly. Ooh, when he's locked up and gone very wide there over the grass. And unfortunately, that will probably be this lap over. Will he pit or will he put in the lap anyway? I would probably put in the lap. Yeah, he's doing so, just to put you ahead of the drivers who might not set a lap. Let's see what it is. It's 11th, so it does put him ahead of two guys who I can imagine experience very similar things on their laps rather. Now let's watch David Plummer, who is our next driver not to set a lap. Actually, let's take a quick glance at the top of the order. That is still the same. It's still Abreu from Wack, Urbanati, Gill and Riveda at the top, and now David Plummer is on his first flying lap. Let's see what he can do and where he can put the car. So he brakes into the left-hander. Now the right-hander turns turn A and turn B. Here is turn 11, a very blind corner over the crest of a hill. Very easy to unsettle rear end there. And now turn 12 through the final corner. And that now puts him 11th, so he's demoted Tom Davidson, who we just saw. And Alexander Meshkov just crossed the line as well, and I don't believe that was a quicker lap from him there. Now, seeing as Martin Brandon is not on a quicker lap, let's watch some of the guys up in front of the order. What about Tiziano Urbanati? What can he do with this lap? Can he put himself any higher up the order? I'm not sure whether this is a real lap or an out lap. He's missed the apex at the final corner, but oh yeah, he stays third with that. Did he improve? I don't think he did. But let's watch this this lap and see if he goes any quicker here. This I want to see. I don't think there is a camera view like this that actually shows. Oh, here we go. Here it is from inside the car, not exactly from the steering wheel point of view, but anyway, we're on the right hand side of the car as we head through the S's. This is what the driver would see if they were sitting on the other side of the car. Now, don't get it out and over those sausage curbs on the outside. They're very dangerous. He's getting a slight slipstream from Jorge Alves up ahead. This might well help him, although it might create a couple of vortexes of dirty air through the corners. That's not going to help, as Alves goes for a spin in front of him, and that's going to ruin his lap. So Urbanati abandons the lap and goes straight back to the pits. What happened to Alves? Well, he's still running, so he didn't have to abandon back to the pits. I take it he didn't go into the wall or anything of that kind. But let's watch someone who is on track. What about Samuel Riveda? So Riveda is our top guy on track at the moment. Still no Martin Brandon, interestingly. He's still in the in the pits. So through the chicane goes Riveda. I'm not entirely sure whether he's on a lap here or not. Through the penultimate corner and the final corner. He's 5th at the moment, and this is still 5th. No improvement there. But I think he's going onto a lap now, as we have just under 20 minutes of the race left. These cars, of course, Porsche Cup cars, flat 6 engine. Quite a bit of aerodynamic downforce generated from those rear wings, but really they rely mainly on the mechanical grip produced by those very grippy tyres. Runs over the curb slightly. There's Jorge Alves. Difficult cars to control. I've driven them plenty of times because they are mid-engined, of course, and the radiator is bang splat in the front, so you can't afford any errors. And it makes them pretty twitchy at some times, and pretty difficult under braking and in the corners as well. You really need to set them up to your liking, otherwise they are going to bite, especially at a track such as this with plenty of S's and a couple of chicanes. And then of course turn 11, which is a flat out right-hander over the crest of a hill. If you haven't got the car set up to your liking there, ooh, as Alves I believe is going for a spin, he is going over the grass. Then the car bites. Oof, Riveda flying over the bump there. Now, does he go any quicker? No, he remains 5th for now. He's still attempting though, he's still lapping. I don't know how much fuel he's got left in the car, or whether he'll keep attempting for a while. I don't know if the fuel goes out first or whether the tyres do on a qualifying run such as this. He's missed the apex slightly there. In fact, he's not really clipping the apex from any of these corners, so I'm wondering whether he's just a bit scared of the curbs at some of these places. Interestingly, we haven't seen anyone go for a big roll yet, but I'm sure we will. I hope we don't, but I'm sure we will at some point. So, around Sector 2 of the lap comes Samuel Riveda as he goes onto the long back straight, very long back straight. We're going to see plenty of slipstreaming and plenty of overtaking going on here. I remember the last race I commentated on at this circuit, Road Atlanta, was a Ginetta GT4 race. And the Ginetta GT4, quite similar in terms of performance to this car, maybe about a second or two a lap slower. And that was quite an exciting race at points as Riveda gets over the grass and spins it and now abandons the lap. What about Thomas Wach? What can he do about Nuno Miguel Abreu? He's just gone onto a lap now. So can this lap do anything about Abreu? As Wach is going for a good result. Of course, Wach is second in the championship, just 1 point by Mikkel Nitsio, who we haven't seen yet today. And I hope that Nitsio comes in, because we never like to see a championship decided simply because one driver made more races than another. And of course, Nitsio made it into last race a bit late, but did make it in. Vidamari, we know, is not going to be making it in today. So it's just Wach versus Urbanati at the top of the order so far, although Abreu is certainly giving it his all. I think we just saw a spin from Jorge Alves in the background. I'm not entirely sure there. Let's switch back to Wach and see what he can do with this lap. He's second at the moment, as we're just over the halfway point in the session. This qualifying session, which decides the grid order for the race. The first of the two races. The second of the two races will be a complete... Oh, it's Harry Graham spun. A complete reverse grid, which should really muddle up the order and give us a very interesting race too. Round the final corner comes Thomas Wach. What will the lap be? Well, it's not first. Was it an improvement? It was not an improvement. So Wach going on to another lap. Let's see what he can do with this one. Whoa, gets over the grass. That's ruined the lap. Well, I expect he's still going to go around for another, unless he wants to go back to the pits and get some fresh tyres. Whoa, getting very sideways. Ooh, watch the rear left there. That was very, very sideways from Thomas Wach. And I'm afraid this lap is completely ruined in the first sector, so this isn't going to be quicker for Thomas Wach. But still 14 minutes to go in the session. Yeah, he's given up now. He knows that he wasn't going to go any faster, so he's given up already. What about Urbanati? I believe he might be on an outlap, maybe. It looks like he might be on an outlap. Actually, I'm not sure. I'll watch it. Seeing as he's so close to the end of the lap, I'll watch this anyway and see what becomes of it. Although I think he's on an outlap, because I don't think he was on track a while ago. Well, we'll see. I think his pace looks pretty okay now. Maybe he's just setting himself up for a lap. We'll see in the final sector yet. Runs it out over the curb. Don't get over the grass. Good, good. Over the crest. There it is. You can see how the cars launch over the top. Now, was that a lap? It wasn't. Or if it was, it wasn't any quicker. Now he's on a lap. So Urbanati starts this lap. And, of course, he is currently third. But he's fourth in the championship standings. And seeing that two of his main rivals aren't here yet, this will be a good opportunity. Is Nitsio in yet? Nitsio is not in, and that's very worrying for our championship leader. I hope that Nitsio gets in, because he's an amazing driver to watch, and I really do like it when we see the championship leader in a race. And if we don't see the championship leader in a race, that is a very disappointing way for the championship lead to change if it does. And in this case, seeing as the top 4 drivers are separated by 6 championship points, I really think that the championship order will change. And Nitsio needs to be here to capitalise on that. I hear crash sound effects. That's not good. But anyway, Urbanati is still running okay on this lap. Just coming into the last sector. Oh, I've just realised. Okay. Well, I'm being told that I didn't. Well, it's the TV plug-in that's not working, and I don't know why that was, because I did enable it. Okay, well we'll have to get that sorted out before next race. I don't think it's going to work for this one. How interesting. But anyway, apologies about that. We were going to have a TV plug-in. I don't know why it's not working. It was working when we tested it the other day. And Urbanati has finished that lap now, and it's kept him in third position, so no improvement there. And Wach, I believe, might well be on an out lap here, I think. It's very hard to tell when they're on an 8 lap or when they aren't sometimes. Vidamari's made it in! Now that is not what we were expecting to happen. Vidamari told us he wouldn't make it in. He's got a new PC, and it was taking him a long time to download all of the content. But Daniele Vidamari's in, and this is terrible news for Michael Nizio. Brilliant news for Vidamari, because he's going to be able to capitalise on Nizio not being here if Nizio doesn't make it in the next 10 minutes. But Vidamari is in the session, and if he can get out and set a lap, he could still claim some good championship points here. We'll have to see. Thomas Wach is completing the end of a lap. I don't know whether it's a hot lap or not. We'll see. Well, if it was, it wasn't first. It was quicker though, so Wach got slightly closer to the blisteringly quick Nuno Miguel Abreu on that lap there. I'm just going to ask Mikel Nizio actually whether he's coming in or not. He's registered as offline, so I'm not sure if he will. Well, that would be a big shame if he didn't. Right, so it's still, with less than 10 minutes remaining, Nuno Miguel Abreu leading from Thomas Wach, Samuel Roveda, who has now passed Tiziano Urbanati for 3rd place. So that's changed, and then Bruno Gil in 5th. So that is the order so far, and Wach is on another lap, I believe. So let's watch what he can do. He's in the final sector, and this has been an okay lap so far, actually. So I haven't noticed any mistakes. Let's see what it is. He's 2nd so far. Does he go quicker? Whoa! You saw him really clubbing it to the outside of that final corner, and it's not quicker. So no improvement there from Thomas Wach. What about Roveda? What can Roveda do? He's in the final sector now as well. So let's see if he can go any quicker. Well, Daniele Vidamari is just typing has just typed in the Discord chat that he's had a big lack of practice at this track, which will be interesting for the championship. I hope it doesn't affect him too much as Roveda comes into the pits. What about... No, Vidamari is not quite on a lap yet. Let's watch Urbanati as he's in the... well, he's in the 2nd sector, just about to go on to the 3rd of this lap, and he has a couple of cars ahead of him. So he'll be getting a bit of a slipstream here from Alexander Meshkov up ahead of him, but Meshkov moves aside, so he won't really. Harry Graham and Alexander Meshkov both got well and truly out of the way of Tiziano Urbanati there, which is what you're supposed to do, so that's good driving from the 2 of them. Now, Urbanati into the final sector. Whoa! Gets a big kick on the rear end and runs over the grass, spins the car around into the gravel, so this is not going to be by any means a quicker lap from Tiziano Urbanati, which is a shame. Let's watch Daniele Vidamari now, as Vidamari is on his 1st flying lap. Let's see what he can do in this qualifying session. He is, of course, 3rd in the championship, and for a long time it looked as if he wouldn't make it in, but he has made it in. So Vidamari back in the session, and he has started his 1st flying lap with just under 7 minutes to go, when everyone else had half an hour. So let's see what he can do in that time as David Plummer moves aside. Dave Plummer, rather. 2nd sector. And Daniele Vidamari lays the power down as he goes onto the back straight under the big Mutul sign. And he only has a couple of corners left to go in this lap before he crosses the line, and we see what this lap is. He's taking quite a wide line around turn 9 there, the turn that really isn't a turn at all in the middle of a straight. But let's see what his lap time is anyway. Final corner, and Vidamari puts himself 12th. So he puts himself 1 position ahead of Alexander Meshkov, one behind Lee Blackmore so far. And finally, Martin Brandon is emerging from the pits. So Martin Brandon, after almost 25 minutes, has finally made it out to the pits, and hopefully he hasn't lost too many laps in that. What can Wach do at the front of the order? Wach is on a lap, I think. Of course, there's only Nuno Miguel Abreu ahead of him, and that is what's separating him from P1 in the race at this point in time. Separating him from pole. He's in the slipstream with Anita Kelly, and this could really help him here. Of course, he won't be getting a strong slipstream from that far back, but Eni is... Oh, he's backed out of it. So Wach is backed out of it, but I think he'll be going on to a lap now. He's just lining up for it, giving himself some clean air, dropping back from Anita Kelly deliberately. And now onto his lap he goes out of the final corner, and let's see if he can challenge Nuno Miguel Abreu at the top of the order. Abreu a long way ahead so far, about 0.8 of a second, but Wach, we know, is a very quick driver, and well, suits these cars absolutely brilliantly. We'll see what he can do. Here are the S's. Don't run it over the curb on the exit. He doesn't. You saw a piece of bodywork there which demonstrates just what can happen if you get it wrong there. And several people I know have been for massive rolls at that particular point on the circuit. Down the back straight goes Thomas Wach. This looks to be a pretty good lap so far. It's very difficult to tell how it stacks up against the other sector times that he's done so far in the session, but with just over 3 minutes remaining, he will be absolutely pushing for it now. Of course, second position would be a very good position, but everyone wants pole position here, and that is what Wach is going for now. He's got one corner left, and where does this put him? Well, it's not pole, but is it an improvement? No, it isn't. So no improvement there from Wach, and Abreu is going out to attempt to make his lap slightly better again. What about Martin Brand? Oh, well, Brandon's off on his first lap, so that's a shame. Martin Brandon's first lap isn't going to be the ideal stunner that he would have hoped for, and with just over 2 minutes left in the session, he can't afford to make too many mistakes like that. He crosses the line, and his car is... Well, he's actually just going on to his first lap, actually, so that won't have cost him that much. He's going on to his first flying lap now. Not exactly using all of the road at turn 1, but he still has a lot of the lap left to go. Doesn't really chuck it into the S's. In fact, this is... I don't mean any offence, but this is looking rather leisurely so far. I wonder whether he's sort of backed out of it already, and he's just sort of lining himself up for one last lap. Maybe he just doesn't know this track. He certainly missed a lot of qualifying, and if he didn't practice much, he'll be taking it easily initially, just to sort of get used to the car and how it controls this track, and that's absolutely fine. He's in the second sector now. Oh, just running it over the grass. Oh, it looks as if he's given up. So Martin Brandon parks it in the grass and goes back to the pits. And I don't think, with this amount of time left, that he is going to get another opportunity to set a lap. Now, what about the battle up the front of the order? What can Tomasz Wach do? He's just emerged from the pit, so I think he's going to have one more lap to do it in. And can he challenge Nuno Miguel Abreu at the front of the order? Can anyone challenge Nuno Miguel Abreu at the front of the order? Abreu was absolutely lightning fast at Road America last time out, winning race 1 by a very big advantage, and would have finished second in race 2 from right near the back of the grid had he not had a connection failure. Very disappointingly, right before he crossed the finish line. It was one of the most irritating finishes to a race I've ever seen from a particular driver. And Tomasz Wach is hunting him down. That first sector time was a 31 second .00 something, I think. And I'm not entirely sure how that stacks up against the other laps we've seen. We have pretty much no time left in the session. No one who is not on a lap very shortly will get to set another one. They have 6 seconds to go onto a new lap if they're going to. And now we see the checkered flag. So this means that anyone who is going to set a lap has to set it now, and they will only get this lap that they're on now to set the time. So let's see what this is from Thomas Wach. This is his last chance. Remember, he runs over the grass. Oh dear, and that has not been pole. He's spun it around. It was a quicker lap, but he ran it over the grass, and that was the end of that. To be honest, I don't think he was going to go any quicker either. Roveda and Urbanati are in the pits. Vidamari puts his car to 8th. Gill goes off into the grass, so that's that lap over. And it looks as if he'd finished that lap anyway, and Brandon is in the pits. So that is the end of this session. Brandon emergence from the pits, actually, and I don't see why he'd do that, seeing as the session time is over. He might have even gone through a red light there. But anyway, as Thomas Wach does some acrobatic celebration for qualifying on the front row of the grid, the order for this race is... well, let me get up my controls so I can actually... oh dear, it's very laggy. I think... Oh, why is it? Oh, it might be because the session's changing to the brief 5-minute warm-up session, I think. Oh, come on, game. What are you doing? I'm just trying to set up my controls so that I can change the camera view. So an amazing pole from Nuno Miguel Abreu. No one could touch the lap or get anywhere near it. And while I attempt very difficultly, if that's a word, to sort out this technical issue with my camera, I will go for a short break, about 4.5 minutes to the race. So I will be right back. Okie dokie, so we are just getting the drivers onto the grid now, and then they can go for a quick formation lap before we head to the actual starting grid and then get the race underway. So, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can leave a comment. I will certainly see them, possibly read them out if they're funny enough or relevant enough, or I might just read them anyway. We have about, well, I can't see on Twitch. We have about 3 viewers on YouTube, so yeah, I've seen worse. Anyway, we're away on the formation lap. Oh, and I've clicked the wrong thing. I think. Well, I'm seeing. What if I? Okay, I think I sort of know how to get the stream up and running. What was that? There was something I downloaded that I needed to do something or other with. I'll have to. Oh dear. Well, I don't think I'm going to get this sorted out for today, but anyway. So, the drivers are on the formation lap, and again, going over the order. I think I'll exit that because I can't see. What has happened to Bruno Gill and Harry Graham? They are both having to start from the pits, unfortunately, so they didn't make it out in time. And that's dramatic, especially from Bruno Gill. With Harry Graham, it might actually be strategic to kind of keep him out of the pretty much inevitable carnage caused by rolling cars on lap 1. But Bruno Gill was starting 5th, of course, or was supposed to be starting 5th, as I'm just fast forwarding in the replay. So that is a big shame for Bruno Gill. He's going to have to start right from the back now due to being in the pits. Nuno Miguel Abreu has pole, followed by Thomas Wach, Samuel Riveda, Tiziano Urbanati. Bruno Gill should have been 5th, but he's starting from the pits. Then it's Steve Serpent, Mark Robinson, Daniele Vidamari, Anita Kelly, Tom Davidson, Jorge Alves, Lee Blackmore, Alexander Meshkov, David Plummer, Harry Graham, who is starting from the pits, and Martin Brandon. So 2 drivers in the pits, 14 more on the track, and we are just lining up for the start. It's as Anita Kelly goes off, trying to avoid cars she wasn't expecting to be going quite that slowly there. We're not quite used to seeing a grid where all the cars are lined up around a corner, basically, and the session can't actually start until Kelly's in the right position. Now she gets... Does she? Yeah, she's in the right position now. Let's watch for the lights. Who are we waiting for here? Well, when everyone's in position, we will see the lights come on at the top of the screen. Bit of creeping, actually, from Nuno Miguel Abreu. You see he's moving forwards a little bit, but anyway. Oh, now he shoots back into position briefly, and now doesn't. And here come the lights. When they go out, we will get the race started. Go! They've gone to green, and the race is underway, and it's a slow start from 3rd. Is that, who's that? That's Riveda. So Riveda gets a very slow start, and Abreu leads away around turn 1 in the lead. 2nd is Wach. Oh, there's a car spinning off. Who is off? Samuel Riveda is off, and also is Mark Robinson. So 2 cars off. These 2 are going to have to wait in the pits until everyone's gone through sector 1, and that's going to be even further slowed by these incidents. So Riveda and Robinson having an incident that I didn't quite see properly. In turn 1. Actually, let's go back and see the replay quickly, just so we can check exactly what happened at the start here. It appears that it was just a classic turn 1 incident. Robinson was on the inside, Riveda was on the outside. They made contact. Riveda's been into the wall. Anyway, going straight back to real time. We have right, we're at real time now. We have Abreu still leading the race from Wach in 2nd, Urbanati in 3rd, followed by Serpent, Vidamari, Davidson, Blackmore, Kelly, Plummer, Meshkov, Brandon, Robinson, Riveda, Alves, Gill, and Graham. So what has happened to Alves there? He's been involved in something or other and has dropped to the back of the order. And Abreu will have a big lead after this opening lap. Let's have a look at what the lead's going to be. It's going to be, it's 1.6 seconds. That is a huge lead. Fourth is off. Oh, both Serpent and Vidamari have been into the wall. Vidamari's got damage. Oh dear, and Anita Kelly gets collected by Steve Serpent coming back across the track. And hopefully she hasn't got any damage, and hopefully Serpent hasn't got any damage either. What happened there? I'm going back for the replay. So, of course, these two... Oh, it looks like lag. Serpent was fourth, and he lagged now back into Vidamari's car. Vidamari would have seen this. Oh, goodness gracious, that's awful. You never hope to see anything like that. Oh, Kelly just got collected though. I'm surprised to see her bumper still on. But that is just the absolute worst luck for all drivers involved there, as a little bit of lag put Steve Serpent's car straight back into Daniele Vidamari's. And also we have lost Harry Graham from the race. So unfortunately we've lost Harry Graham. What has happened to him? It looks as if... Oh, a couple of guys just kind of ran off. Oh, it's an engine expiry. Maybe he switched down too many gears too quickly. But anyway, Harry Graham, unfortunately, is out of the race. So, it's Abreu leading after lap 2 from Wach, Urbanati, Davison, Kelly, Plummer, Meshkov, Blackmore, Reveda, Robinson, Brandon, Alves, Vidamari, Gill, and Serpent, with Harry Graham, unfortunately, out of the race. What's the gap for the lead? It's 2.9 seconds. Nuno Miguel Abreu is absolutely running away with it now. And, and who has just pulled a move? Alves and Brandon are fighting, and it looks as if Alves has come out ahead in... Kelly's off, into the barrier goes Anita Kelly. They're dropping like flies. There are cars sliding off all over the place. What's happened here? Oh, she's had a slight twitch under braking, run over the curb, bounced up in the air, spun off the road and into the barrier. The helicopter camera caught it all. And unfortunately, she's out. So she didn't get going again. And unfortunately, she's out. Serpent and Plummer both pit. And so does Vidamari. So several cars. Actually, it wasn't Plummer that pitted at all, was it? So several cars are being involved in some bad accidents early on in the race. And we've lost a couple. And that is a big, big shame. Now, Plummer is being chased by Blackmore and Reveda. I believe that Reveda... Well, Blackmore is closer to Reveda than Reveda is to Blackmore. And this bunch are racing hard, but still quite separated. Although, under braking there, it looked as if Reveda caught up a bit too... Oh my word! Blackmore's over! Over and over and over. I just saw that Reveda came into the shop first, and I wondered what had happened. Blackmore has had a huge one. He's just hit that sausage curb on the inside. I said that would be an issue. Twice, 3 times, 4... 5, 6, oh no, very nearly 6. It was 5 times over from Lee Blackmore. He's got it going again. Looks as if the car's damaged. This is me putting it forward to real time. We're in real time now. He's not pitting, interestingly, so he doesn't feel like the car's damaged enough to lose a lot of time in pitting for. But as Steve Serpent's still in the pits, interestingly, they are absolutely dropping like flies. What's the closest gap? Well, Plummer's dropped behind Reveda. Can he get it in? No, he seems to be too far back now. And I didn't see how that happened. But anyway, Reveda is ahead of Plummer. And the order up the front of the field after Kelly had her off is Abreu from Wach, Urbanati, Davison, and Reveda. Of course, with Mikkel Nizio not making it in, several of these drivers will be hoping to capitalise on that unfortunate situation, as Nizio is having to miss this round for whatever reason, and Vidamari, Wach and Urbanati, well, Wach and Urbanati anyway, are in good position to gain some points and take the lead of the championship, whichever one of them comes out on top basically, although Vidamari has dropped down the order after an incident. Still race 2 to go after this one, of course, though, so plenty of time for things to change. And this is only the start. Hopefully we don't get too many rolls or big crashes in race 2. Oh, talking of crashes, Brandon's off again. He is into the wall. And how's this happened? It's appeared to have happened quite a while ago. Now what's happened here? It looks to me as if he's just driven off the road. Now that's very weird. I don't know what's happened there. There's the spin, and he hasn't saved it at all. I wonder whether he's had a wheel... Oh no, he's got going again. So I was wondering whether he'd had a wheel disconnection or something like that. But it looks as if he's just kind of spun, and he was parked there for a very long time. Now he teleports back to the pits and out of the race, and is our third retirement. But that was very weird, how long he was sitting against the wall for. I'm not sure at all. He must have lost the engine in some way, but I'm not sure at all why he was there. Let's watch our leader for a bit, who is making it look rather easy as everyone else is losing their heads around him. But Abreu, on lap 5 out of 18 already, on lap 6 rather, is not making any silly mistakes, not rolling it over the curbs like everyone else is, and is in position to pick up some really good points. Abreu has had a real burst of speed in the last couple of races. He was blisteringly quick at Road America and got pole there, followed by a race win. Now he's got pole here and is leading it around. And I hope I haven't just given him the commentator's curse, which I can do, as I found out in the past. Well, Abreu is keeping it clean so far. It's a big gap as well. Look back in the distance. It takes a very long time for work behind him to come into view. And Abreu must be finding this rather easy now. Through the chicane. Out of the chicane and towards the final corner. There's a cone in the middle of the road, so someone's taken that with them. I wonder if that was when Lee Blackmore went for his roll. And onto another lap goes Abreu, a long way ahead of the rest of the order. There's Thomas Wach, just bouncing it over the inside curb. Very aggressive looking driving style. Urbanati. Davison is 4th. There he is. Bit of a spread out field after all of the various incidents we saw in the opening stages. Reveda is 5th. Of course, he's already been into the wall once. David Plummer is 6th so far. And 7th is Alexander Meshkov. 8th is Mark Robinson so far. Jorge Alves is 9th, and behind him is his not quite teammate, but sort of teammate in the other Rebellion car, Bruno Gil. It's not really a Rebellion car at all under Endreless name, it's a Moravia. Lee Blackmore, who's had several rolls and is missing a front bumper, is 11th. And then Daniele Vidamari is 12th. He is a lap down. You can see Thomas Wach up ahead of him. Unfortunate position in terms of the championship for Daniele Vidamari, because he's running 3rd in the championship, but he'll be losing a lot of points to all of his opponents except for Mikel Nizio, due to dropping behind Wach and Urbanati in this race. Providing nothing drastic happens to either of them in race 2, it might well be that after this round, Wach and Urbanati are battling over the championship, and they've left Vidamari and Nizio in the dust due to Nizio not being here and Vidamari not getting in enough practice and then being involved in a couple of incidents early on in the race. And then, of course, 13th is Steve Serpent, who is about to be lapped in a little while by Nuno Miguel Abreu. So Serpent is the last of our runners, because behind him Brandon, Kelly and Graham unfortunately are out of the race after their various incidents. And Anita Kelly, well, no, I don't know why. I meant Steve Serpent is going to score points if he finishes. In fact, everyone who finishes this race will score points. We saw this last time out in Road America as well, because the top 15 cars score points, and there are only 13 cars remaining in the race. So this will be quite good points for the finishers, actually, and to be honest, quite well-deserved points as well. Of course, being a racing driver isn't all about being the quickest, but also about being consistent and being clean and finishing the race. And when it's as difficult as this, and when you roll as soon as you touch the curbs, basically, to be honest, points just for finishing are quite a good idea. 8th is getting close between Meshkov, Robinson and Alves. You see the gaps there. Those three separated by less than 2 seconds. And of course, behind them, Bruno Gil isn't that far behind himself. So this gap has been closing up. And I believe that Alves on Robinson has been the biggest rate of closure of the lot of them. So whether Alves can do something about Robinson might well be seen in the next couple of laps. Robinson takes a defensive line through turn 11 there, and Alves is going to have to get creative to pass him. We're on to the start-finish straight here, which isn't the longest straight of the track, and isn't really a good slipstreaming or overtaking opportunity. Really, that all comes on the back straight. Although, of course, most of the position change we've seen so far in this race is being due to people spinning off or rolling in this sector here, the S's. And hopefully no one does that this time through. We're coming up to a difficult one, turn 5. And if you get over the outside curb here, you will roll several times, and it will be very, very painful. Now, Alves has actually dropped back from Robinson a little bit in that sector, and Bruno Gil is now all over his rear end. So Bruno Gil very close to Alves' car ahead of him, and in the slipstreaming range. All 4 of these guys will be in the slipstreaming range of the car ahead as we head into this, onto this long straight. And Bruno Gil pokes to the left-hand side of Jorge Alves' car for 8th position down at the straight. There is a slight kink which gives Alves briefly the inside line, but Gil is through before the corner with the slipstream. Does he get it slowed in time? Whoa! Off goes Alexander Meshkov, and Meshkov loses plenty of positions with that spin. He's now down into 10th. He was about 7th, and let's see how that happened on replay briefly. It looks as if he just outbraked himself, locked up and went straight on, which indeed he did, and he caused everyone behind him to scatter, and Robinson might well come under attack from Gil here. We're back to real time, and this group are still very close, with Bruno Gil attacking the rear end of Mike Robinson, and Robinson takes a slightly slower line through the start of the S's there. Gil got close, but not close enough. I always get really worried when they pass those sausage curbs that someone is going to touch them and go for a big flight, as I saw it happen quite a few times in practice, but it looks like in the race the drivers are wiser to it. It's a very easy mistake to make though, as you naturally want to run as much curb there as you possibly can. But when the penalty is getting flicked off into oblivion, it's not really worth taking that much of it. And the driver's wise to avoid that so far. Now, as we're going down the back straight, Bruno Gil is taking a look to the inside of Mike Robinson. This is where he got past Jorge Alves last time around. Robinson goes slightly wide, but of course that gives him the inside line for 10B, and that keeps the place for Mike Robinson, who defends the inside line of turns 11 and 12. Now, will Gil be able to get the switch back as we head down the start-finish straight? He does indeed. Pokes to the inside line. This is for 7th position, and he gets it before the corner. Slides it out wide though, and Robinson might have a go at coming back at him here, and he does. He's going to have the inside line for the next corner. Gil defends it, and Robinson has to settle for 8th. Who's that off the road? It's David Plummer. So Plummer has been off. Let's look at the replay and see what happened. He was running 6th, and he's just sort of kicked the car around, and he's touched the wall with his rear end. That won't have done any damage, I don't think so. He's now dropped to 9th position as we go back to real time there. That's a shame for David Plummer, but Robinson now is under attack from Jorge Alves. These two very close, much closer than they were when they had a Bruno Gil between them. And now that Gil has got through, it's time for the other Rebellion car to think about attacking Robinson's car and have an attempt. He took a look down into the penultimate, well, down into the chicane here. Not technically the penultimate corner, because they've got 11 and 12 after this. Still there's a cone in the middle of the track, but that can be there if it wants to be there. Leave it alone. Out of the final corner we go to start the 12th lap rather, out of 18. And Alves is taking a look this way and that. He took a look to the outside of Robinson through turn 1 there, and is now getting closer. We're in well, we're just entering, or just going through the first sector, almost in the second sector. The second being the shorter sector of the lap. Robinson runs over the curb slightly, doesn't reach the sausage curb, but it's still going to cost him a little bit of momentum. And now, can Alves line him up properly as we head round the 2 corners at the top end of the circuit? The livery on the Jorge Alves car behind, I must say, makes it look a lot like a Nissan GTR when you just see the front end. It just emphasises the radiator, I suppose. And that keeps catching my eye, I think. Of course, these very much not Nissan GTRs. These are all Porsche Cup cars, flat 6 engined, as I said earlier. Very tricky but fun cars to drive. Difficult to get right, but when you get them right, they're very rewarding. As we head on to lap 13 now. Let's have a look at the order to see the gaps. The gap for the lead now is coming to 24 seconds, so that is really, really a large gap. Roveda is really closing on Tom Davison for 4th position here. This is a very close one. Luckily, no retirement since the last one we saw. But Roveda is attacking Tom Davison ahead. He's taken a big chunk of time out of him. As it turns to 9 o'clock GMT. Down the back straight we go. Roveda slipstreaming Tom Davison. Davison, not Davidson. No relation to Anthony. Into 10A and 10B. There's a lock-up. Whoa, big lock-up from Davison ahead, and he goes off. So Davison locks up the tyre, runs off the road. He's side by side with Roveda, but Roveda, of course, has the momentum and gets through into 4th position. So Roveda gets 4th position as Davison makes a mistake in the chicane. Whoa, and he's made another one. Kicks out the rear end. Does he hold it? That's a good save. But that's going to cost him some time as he just kind of dipped down into the gear below, I believe, and kicked out the rear end. Maybe switched down the gears too quickly. Whatever happened, something was slightly wrong and he kicked out the rear end. Now he runs wide again. Ooh, almost over the sausage curbs. Now that was a bit hairy. If he'd got properly over the sausage curbs and been flicked up, that would have been an absolute disaster. I've seen it a number of times so far at this track, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Because there's nothing worse than driving along and minding your own business and suddenly being flicked into a roll. And sometimes over the barrier, and there's no coming back from that unless you can find an opening. But by that time, you've got so much damage on the car, you wonder if it's worth it. Ooh, another big slide from Tom Davison. He's really struggling now. I wonder whether his tyres are going off. We are 14, well, about to be 15 out of 18 laps into the race. So we've had a decent chunk of the race taken up, and the tyres might be feeling the pain now. The gap for the lead is 28.2 seconds already. Nuno Miguel Abreu is really running away with this from Thomas Wach. An absolutely masterful performance we have seen so far from Abreu. And then Wach and Urbanati are behind him, poised to take 1st and 2nd in the championship. It'll be Wach who takes the lead at this rate. And Urbanati who takes 2nd. I believe so anyway. I'll just check that quickly. Yeah, it will be. It'll be Wach that takes the lead of the championship, with Urbanati 2nd. And I think Vidamari for 12th place will just gain enough points to get himself either equal to Nizio on points or ahead. I'm not entirely sure of how the point system works here. Davison in Roveda's slipstream as we head along the back straight, but he's going to have to... well, I don't think he's going to get quite close enough this time around. Any slipstream will be a help here. Now, did I see... Well, I saw Urbanati in the distance, but... oh no, that's a lapped car we're coming up to now, so... I was wondering whether there was a slow-moving front runner up ahead, but it looks as if it's just a car to lap. Now we're heading on to the 16th lap of the race for these two. The leader would have started it a long time ago, probably about 40 seconds ago now. And these two just, of course... Oh no! Davison has clipped the inside curve and he's gone over! Now hopefully there's not too much damage on the car. Of course, the beauty of sim racing is that you can just keep going after something like that. But a lot of the time. But as you can see, he's just turned in too sharply, clipped the inside curve, and that's just tumbled his car over. I've said that has happened a couple of times. As I just fast forward to real time, he hasn't lost a position in that. He's dropped a long way behind Reveda. Oh, and Alves is off too. So Alves, who was running 6th, has just sort of kicked the rear end out as he's gone to brake, and he's gone into the wall. Now I hope that there's no damage from that. I don't believe there is. Bruno Gill is missing his front, his bonnet, but he has gone up into 6th position ahead of Alves, and behind them is Plummer, probably the first car through that corner in a while not to have any issues. Gill kicks out the rear end slightly. Now Davison, of course, was lucky in that to keep his 5th position, but he has, of course, dropped a long way behind Reveda, and I don't believe there's any chance he'll be catching Reveda unless Reveda has a mistake himself. But at a track like this, that is very, very possible. All it takes is a slight lapse in concentration and judgment, and then you've clipped a curb and you're rolling, just as we've seen Davison doing, just as we saw Blackmore doing earlier, just as we've seen several people doing throughout practice. And the gap for the lead has come down slightly. Well, as I say, that it's coming out again. But of course, Abreu is so far ahead that gap is not going to come down unless there is a big error. What about Meshkov and Plummer? They're side by side here for 8th position. Meshkov and Plummer fighting over 8th position as we're getting towards the final lap of the race. And Meshkov gets slightly wide and slightly over the grass there. Plummer has the inside line and gets the position. So Plummer is up into 8th position as he starts the 17th lap of the race. Now what about the leader? Abreu has just started the final lap of the race, lap 18. Nuno Miguel Abreu is a long way ahead of the rest of the field. He's just coming up to lap this group we just saw battling, actually. And he is on the final lap of this race, and Meshkov is now coming under attack from Robinson, but they are both going to have to get out of the way of the race leader here, as Abreu is getting past the both of them, and does get past them rather cleanly and nicely, which is good. It would be an absolute disaster to see the leader being... Whoa, it's off! I saw it was Meshkov getting slightly wiggly. I saw that happening. I believe Robinson's off as well. I saw that happening. You see him going there, and he just runs off, and Robinson spins, possibly in sympathy, as Meshkov went further in and to the wall. I don't think there will be any damage from that. And now, as I go forward to real time, Abreu is getting very, very close to the end of the race. In fact, there, oh dear, as I clicked the wrong button, he wins it. So Nuno Miguel Abreu wins the race by a very long way after 18 laps of racing. That is an absolutely dominant performance. Now we're going to have to wait almost half a minute for the next car to finish. That's going to be Thomas Wach in second. And Urbanati did bring the gap down significantly for second, but Wach is going to hold on to it as it's too little too late from Urbanati. Thomas Wach is going to cross the line second. There he goes. Urbanati is third, and the gap for the lead was almost half a minute. It was 29.5 seconds, a massive, massive gap. Samuel Reveda crosses the line in fourth. Fifth is going to be Tom Davidson, despite a roll. And fifth, despite a roll, is a very good performance from Tom Davidson. I bet he wasn't expecting to finish it at one point. Bruno Gill and Jorge Alves still battling, as they have been for a lot of the race. Alves, of course, behind Gill due to an incident. Oh, Gill gets very sideways, does well to hold it. And now Bruno Gill, who's obviously had his own accidents by himself, is going to cross the line in the battle-scarred Rebellion as Alves goes wide. Gill finishes 6th, Alves finishes 7th, and then we have the cars which finished a lap down. I believe that everyone's finished now. Yeah, they have. All of the finishers are finished. And it's David Plummer in 8th, followed by Mark Robinson in 9th. 10th is Alexander Meshkov. 11th is the very damaged Lee Blackmore's car. 12th is Daniele Vidamari, who gains a couple of championship points, but really not anywhere near as much as he would be hoping for. Then it's Steve Serpent in 13th. 14th and 8th was Martin Brandon, and also out of the race, unfortunately, was Anita Kelly and Harry Graham. So unfortunately, a couple of retirements in that race. But Thomas Wach is our new championship leader after race 1. We will now have about a 5-minute break, and then we will be straight back for race 2. So the brief warm-up session has just come to an end with a spinning car, and we are just waiting now for the drivers to make their way back to the pits, and then we can get going for race 2 with a reverse grid. I should remind you, which will be very good for Daniele Vitamari, because of course the fact that cars that didn't finish the race don't get put to the front means that Vitamari, because he did finish, will start second. And that is exactly what he would want after an opening race like that, as well as Steve Serpent, who did quite well to hang on to his position in the last race at Road America in the reverse grid after being put to the front of the order. Now, Serpent will lead us away on the formation lap, followed by Daniele Vitamari in second. Third place, as Vitamari gets going earlier on the formation lap. Third place will be Lee Blackmore, who rolled a couple of times in the last race. Alexander Meshkov will be following him, followed by Mark Robinson, Dave Plummer, I keep saying, oh, it is David, never mind. Jorge Alves, Bruno Gill, Tom Davison, Samuel Riveda, Thomas Urbanati first, then Thomas Wach. Nuno Miguel Abreu, race 1 winner, starting from 13th on the grid, and then the 3 retirements from last time out. Martin Brandon, Harry Graham, and also Anita Kelly, who isn't here. So sadly, one of the big names in the championship, who was leading the championship after round 2, is not going to make race 2, and that is a big, big shame. Very aggressive tyre warming from Harry Graham there. So, Steve Serpent is going to line up on pole, followed by Daniele Vitamari. Now, Vitamari will be wanting to get to the front of the field as quickly as possible to build out as big a gap as he possibly can before some of the other big guys make it through. Vitamari effectively has a head start here, as does Steve Serpent, but Vitamari in terms of the championship runners, because he is starting a lot higher up the order than the others. Vitamari starting second. His closest championship rival, Tiziano Urbanati, is starting 11th. So you can see how big of an opportunity this is for Vitamari, even if he's there only because he scored a few points in race 1 due to a couple of incidents, especially one disappointing one containing these two cars, Steve Serpent and Daniele Vitamari, where Serpent glitched back into Vitamari's car and they both went off and collected Anita Kelly in doing so, and unfortunately that cost Vitamari a lot of points, as it did Serpent. But Vitamari now has to start, or gets to start at the front of the field, so there's a silver lining to that cloud. And now we are just waiting for everyone to line up on the grid. It'll be Harry Graham who lines up at the back. Also, Bruno Gill was a long way behind. I wonder whether he had a spin on the formation lap. But he's going to line up in his rightful position now. As into the grid slot goes Harry Graham. Now let's watch for the lights. If I switch to this view, here they come. And when they go out, there we go. We're going to start the race now, and it's a good start from the front of the grid for Steve Serpent. Bad start from Vitamari. Vitamari is dropping right the way down the field here, and that's a terrible start for Vitamari, especially seeing as he really needed this opportunity for his championship. Does everyone make it through okay? No, of course they don't. Oh, Abreu's off. Urbanati's off. Urbanati is off, as is Jorge Alves. So Urbanati, Abreu, and Alves all go off at turn 1. Harry Graham is missing his front bumper. And is it still Steve Serpent leading the race? Yes, it is, from Lee Blackmore and Tom Davison. Blackmore's running slightly wide. Davison is trying to get second. He's going to the inside as we head up the hill here. And will he keep his car right where he needs to keep it? Yes, he does. And Tom Davison gets second place. Now, will Lee Blackmore try to come straight back through? He can't. So, luckily, it looks like we haven't lost anyone. As Abreu touches Martin Brandon, goes over the grass, almost spins it around. Does spin it around, and so does Brandon. And now Brandon comes off worse in terms of damage. Alves collects him. This is utter carnage. Alves also loses his front bumper, and this is terrible for the race 1 winner. It always seems to go terribly for him in race 2, and it's still Steve Serpent leading us around from Davison, Blackmore, Plummer and Robinson, but Robinson is coming under attack from Vidamari after Vidamari's terrible start. And Vidamari himself has just actually been passed around the outside by Bruno Gill. So a good move from Gill, taking advantage of Vidamari's poor start there. And I don't think I'll have time to show you a replay of what happened. I might show you after the race, as Reveda and Work battle it out for 8th. But what a hectic first lap we have just seen. And what's the gap by Steve Serpent? It's actually 2.2 seconds, so that's a decent gap that Steve Serpent has got over his rivals behind. And now Bruno Gill and Mark Robinson are side by side for 5th. So Robinson has the inside line, Gill has the outside. This is the better line for Robinson. And Robinson gets that for now. Now, will Vidamari be able to get himself alongside Bruno Gill? He does. Oh, there's contact! Oh, I thought Vidamari was going round there, and that would have just been an insult to injury, as Reveda is now getting past him as well. So Reveda gets through, and Vidamari is now down to 8th. His race and his weekend is going from bad to worse. He needed these points. Luckily for him, his championship rivals are still behind him, but Work only 1 position behind, as Robinson and Gill are going side by side down into the chicane. Robinson has the inside. Gill's going to get the inside for the next corner, and also for the next 2 corners. And Reveda might well have a swipe at this as well, but doesn't quite manage to yet. And Gill keeps the position for now. Also, look at Vidamari having a look at Samuel Reveda. That was certainly a move that wasn't on yet, as Reveda runs it out to the outside of the circuit, just trying to use all the track. And Vidamari breaks quite early there. Oh, a bit of a slide for Bruno Gill. That might cost him some momentum there, as we're seeing from the helicopter cam that Bruno Gill is still leading us around. Oh, and Lee Blackmore's off. He was running in 3rd. So Lee Blackmore is off the road and has dropped down to 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th position. Now let's go back and see a replay of that quickly before something else happens. Oh, I need to go race and then back. So Lee Blackmore has lost. Oh, he's spun again, trying to get it going. Oh no, this is a replay. This is a replay. Never mind. It looks as if he's just kind of looped it around. He just sort of lost the downforce of the rear, looped the car around, and that was that. So Lee Blackmore, unfortunately, drops down into 12th position for now, as I speed the time up. Actually, I'm going to stop it here, because Work and Vidamari are side by side as we head down the straight. These 2 championship rivals. Vidamari is on the inside, Work is on the outside. Work outbrakes Vidamari, and he's going to have the inside for the next corner. He slides, just taps the rear end of Vidamari. That could have been dreadful, as I put it right back to real time. That could have been dreadful. Somehow it wasn't. And now Plummer is fighting for 3rd with Bruno Gill after Blackmore had a spin. So Gill and Plummer. Oh, and Robinson goes off. Robinson had a look at them, goes off and into the wall. Oh dear, and that might damage his rear suspension. He's spinning now, and that's going to put him right down the order. Where's he going to end up? He ends up in 11th. And he might lose another to Lee Blackmore. Let's go back and see exactly how that happened. I think this is one you need to see from on board. It looks as if he's just going to... Oh, he's just going to have a big twitch. And off he goes and into the barrier. And then spins the car around. And he lost a lot of places in that. So, as I put it back to real time, that's 11th now for Mark Robinson. And now Bruno Gill is side by side with David Plummer and Samuel Reveda for the head of the order. They're 3 wide down the back straight for the final spot on the podium. This is great racing with Plummer on the inside, Reveda in the middle. Contact! Gill goes into the wall in one of the worst places to do it. Oh my word! Leapfrogs over the curb and gets revenge on Samuel Reveda, who spins over the grass as well. That was one of the most dramatic accidents I've seen in a long time, as Gill was forced off the road, tried to get it back onto the road again to see if he could keep control of the car. Unfortunately didn't. Let's see that on board, as Reveda really did move across a bit. Look at this from the outside. Yeah, that was just Reveda moving across, and I'm afraid I think the majority of the blame has to be on Reveda there, who gave Gill a real tap, and Gill had no way of controlling that, flew over the curb. Reveda was extremely lucky not to have a rollover. And that has put Bruno Gill down to, well, out. So Bruno Gill out of the race as Alves fights with Graham, both of them missing their front bumpers. Alves is on the inside now. There's a slight touch, and Alves gets that for now. I'm going to quickly go up the order so I don't miss anything up here. We are back to real time now. And it's still Steve Serpent leading from Tom Davidson. Daniele Vidamari already up to third in all of the chaos. And then it's David Plummer and Tomasz Włoch. Włoch, I tell you, is right in the slipstream with David Plummer, though. He's poking to what will be the outside for the first of the... Oh, no, he's going to get through before the corner, so that's irrelevant. Nope, Plummer keeps it on the inside. And it keeps the position for now, but Włoch will have the inside for the next couple of corners. If he can keep himself with a bit of overlap, Plummer can't turn in, and, well, Plummer gets the run around the outside anyway. So Plummer keeps fourth for now. Also, look at Abreu, who is in sixth. He's come right from the back after an incident at turn 1. And then another incident later on in lap 1. So it's good to see someone performing or having a comeback. Oh, like that as Plummer goes off. Plummer has a big... Oh, my word. That's a big hit into the wall, and hopefully his suspension isn't too damaged. We see here that Plummer just had a twitch as he went to turn in. Around went the car, and then as he tried to get it going again, whoa, that's lucky he didn't go over. We've seen a couple of cars getting very close to rolling, and he is down into 8th position and very close to being overtaken by Alexander Meshkov. Oh, Blackmore's around. Blackmore spins again because he spun out of 3rd position earlier in the race, and this is the same corner as well. He's really struggling here, and he just kind of looped it around and into the barrier. Here you see the hit. Oh, it wasn't actually as big as it looked, but Blackmore drops to 11th position in that. And that's a shame for Lee Blackmore. It's not been going his way so far. Harry Graham's had a pit stop. Unfortunately, after all of that chaos, we've lost Bruno Gill and Martin Brando. Oh, Tom Davidson's leading the race. Where has Steve Serpent gone? He's down to 5th. Now, how has that happened? Serpent was leading the race, but no longer. He's had some sort of off somewhere, surely, to have dropped from 1st to 5th. Let's see how that happened on replay. Did it happen at turn 1? No, it's happened... oh, it's happened here. He's had a big kick. Oh, no, he kept it. Has it happened on the extra turn 5? No. Oh, yeah. Hold on. He's got over the curve. He's got... Oh, dear. He's got very, very sideways. There he goes. And now has he... Oh, he's just got over the grass and into the wall. Spins it back over the track, and Tom Davidson goes through. So that is a big shame for Steve Serpent. He was leading quite considerably there. And this is what Davidson saw of it. Davidson himself had a bit of a twitch around there as Steve went wobbling all over the track. Just couldn't hold it into the wall. Spun back across. Lucky not to take out Tom Davidson. And that, unfortunately, is the end of Steve Serpent's lead. Although he's already back up to... oh, no, he isn't. That's just my stream not concentrating. So Davidson is first. Vidamari is second now. And that's from dropping down to 8th after a bad start. Abreu is third after dropping down to last after a bad start. Urbanati is 4th. 5th is Serpent. Then it's Robinson, Włoch, Meshkov. What has happened to Włoch? He's dropped a few positions. Meshkov, Reveda, Blackmore, Plummer, Alves, Graham. And unfortunately out are Gill and Brandon. So a very dramatic start to this race, and the gap for the lead is now 9.9 seconds. Close battle for 6th according to the times, and of course Włoch is a very quick driver. He'll be catching Mark Robinson hand over fist and looking this way and that to see where he can get through. Although he's not close enough to try and move just yet. If he can stick with Mark Robinson in the S's here, he might well be able to have a swipe at him at the chicane after a good amount of slipstreaming that he'll get off the next straight, I expect. One of the longest straights on the calendar we're about to see next. We get long straights on quite a few tracks in the US, but this, one of the longest. And very good for slipstreaming. These cars, not necessarily the best for slipstreaming, but they do provide quite a lot of slipstream still. And, well, Włoch's about to demonstrate that as he pulls to the inside of Mike Robinson. Actually locks up quite a lot. Although Robinson locks up slightly as well. And gets very sideways actually, and Work might be able to capitalise on that error. But it doesn't, again, it doesn't look like he's quite close enough. We're now at the halfway point in the race, 9 laps out of 18, and a lock-up from Mark Robinson. It seems that the second sector is where Work gets closer, as you're seeing now, but then Work loses it on the straight maybe. So, well, I mean, he was gaining it on the straight due to the slipstream last lap. I'm wondering whether Robinson is just slightly better under the brakes. And Robinson is now very well and truly under attack from Work, who appears to be closer at this stage in the lap than he was last time around. And now, here comes the slipstreaming. So, Work in the slipstream of Mark Robinson as they head down the back straight. And will he be able to get close enough by the corner? I don't actually think he will be able to. He's still quite a way behind as we head down the straight, although he's certainly getting closer. He is having a look to the inside. And will this provide anything? There's another lock-up from Work, and he still has to settle for the position. Over the crest we go, and out of the final corner, and Work, still behind Robinson, gets a slight slide. And the gap to the lead has actually come down quite considerably there to 7.9 seconds. So if Vidamari continues to catch Davison at this rate, there might well be a battle for the lead later on in this race. That would be great to see. Still, one of the closest battles on track is this one between Robinson and Work. But Work not quite close enough to Robinson to actually think about pulling a proper move. And actually Steve Serpent is dropping down to both of them. Oh, who was that? Someone went off. I believe it was Harry Graham. Actually, I think he was just getting out of the way. I was worried initially that it was our race leader, Tom Davison, but it was his teammate who went off instead, Harry Graham. And I believe he was just getting out of the way of these leaders. Now, Work has a face full of Mark Robinson here, and he's about to pull out of the slipstream, I'm sure. Here he goes to the inside. He's locked up the last 2 times. He's locking up again. He needs to stop doing that because Work is really struggling to get past Robinson under brakes, as Robinson is just able to carry the brake, the brakes through the corner and not lock up, and Work is locking up every time he attempts it, and he needs to stop doing that if he's going to get past Mark Robinson. He's really struggling here, and our championship leader is very much struggling to get past to get up into 6th position. What's the gap for the lead? Incidentally, it's come down by a second on that lap. Tom Davison is really being caught by Vidamari, and at this rate Vidamari will catch Davison by the end of the race, so that is definitely one to look out for. Also, Mark Robinson himself is getting closer to Steve Serpent ahead. You can see that on the leaderboard. The gap there is now down to less than a second between the two, but I believe that he's made a slight error, and Work is right on his rear end again. So Work all over Mark Robinson, and will he be able to take a 4th attempt in a row, 4th attempt from 4 laps as we head down the straight. He's actually pulling out of the slipstream immediately this time, so that shows how quickly he has got alongside Robinson, and if he can get past him even before the corner, that'll be very, very good for Work's chances. He needs to make sure that he doesn't lock up this time through down into the chicane, and he doesn't. So Work gets the position. That's 6th position for Thomas Work, and now he can go chasing down Steve Serpent ahead of him, and that is big in terms of the race and indeed the championship, because now Work can go on the attack. So Work is chasing down Steve Serpent. He's been released from Mark Robinson, who himself was chasing down Steve Serpent a lap ago, but it looks as if Robinson's dropping back a bit now due to that battle. And now it's all between Serpent and Work. So Steve Serpent, you can see visibly in that sector the gap that Thomas Work is gaining on him. It's gold car followed by yellow car. Very bright liveries in this field. Possibly the brightest. Slight lock-up again from Work. And Steve Serpent goes slightly wide there. Work thought he might have a slight look in case Serpent went skittering off into the grass. But that didn't happen, of course. And now Work has to settle to the slipstream. He's actually got a bad run onto the straight now, as Serpent was able to carry the speed around the outside. And Work, of course, was stuck on the inside, having to brake to avoid running into Steve Serpent. And he's not going to be able to get past him this time around. He locks up again. Work is struggling under brakes for that corner. And I believe we're going to head on to lap 13 next time through. So, this is the lap where Work is going to attack again, I'm sure of it. Serpent is not getting away from him. In fact, there's a slight lock-up from Serpent there, and he goes wide. And Work is alongside him now as we head through and up the hill. And Work gets a much better run. Gets it turned in time for the corner. And Thomas Work gets 5th position ahead of Steve Serpent, who drops behind him. But it's not over yet. Serpent is still looking at the back of Thomas Work's car. And he's not giving up. And if he can use the slipstream to get past him, then Work is going to have to do it all over again, of course. But it's an attack or be attack situation for Steve Serpent, because Mark Robinson has caught right up to the rear of him now. Now, down the backstroke we go. Who's going to get the best slipstream on who? I don't think anyone's going to be close enough to attack this time around, but let's see how close they get nonetheless, as we head towards the final sector of this lap. And it's still Work from Serpent from Robinson in this little chain. Slightly different line there as Serpent and Robinson go slightly tighter than Work did. And let's have a look at the gap. Whoa, wow! It's Abreu in second. Now Abreu has gone up into second past Bidamari, and the gap for the lead has come right the way down to less than 2 seconds. Now how has this changed? It's happened into turn 1. So Bidamari has simply been passed by Abreu. Abreu got the better run out of the final corner, poked to the inside, and Nuno Miguel Abreu takes second place after winning the first race. And he is absolutely flying today to get past Bidamari, who is third in the championship. If I fast forward in time now to get to real time, we'll see who, or if Bidamari can get back at him on the straight this time around. It doesn't look like it. To be honest, he's not really tucking into the slipstream as much as he could hit. Now down towards the chicane. There we go. And he's not close enough, as I predicted. We are on lap 14 out of 18 here, about to go on to lap 15. So the race is drawing to a close. But I tell you what, the lead gap is really, really coming down here between all three of them. It's an accordion effect. And that dynamic has now changed that Abreu has got ahead. Now that Abreu has got ahead of Bidamari. So Bidamari still aiming to chase down Nuno Miguel Abreu and possibly launch an attack if Abreu is held up while fighting Tom Davidson, who is leading the race. Or if they come together, of course, Bidamari will lead the race. So, if you're in the 2 cars ahead, if you are fighting, there's always a chance you will end up with the race win. And Bidamari just needs to sit in that position and hope that no one takes him off. And hope that there are no mistakes. He has to make sure he doesn't make any that are his own fault. Now, Abreu is really in the slipstream of Tom Davidson this time around. This is for the race lead, remember. Abreu pokes to the outside. If he can hold it around here, this will become the inside for the next corner. He doesn't. Oh, Davidson goes off. Davidson, our race leader, just outbrakes himself trying to defend from Abreu. And it's now Abreu who leads the race. And he might well be going for a double victory here. So Nuno Miguel Abreu, a brilliant piece of attack has forced Tom Davidson into a mistake. Let's watch that again as Davidson just outbrakes himself, slithers wide into the grass. He knows it's over at that point. And this is what Abreu saw of that He would have known at this point, seeing Davison going shooting through, that he was never going to make the corner. And Abreu gets the place and leads the race. Now, if I fast forward to real time again, it's Abreu leading. I could just swipe like that. There we go. From Davison and Vidamari. We're on lap 16 out of 18, so getting very close to the end of the race. And not much more chance for anyone to do anything. Now, Vidamari is looking much closer to Davison than he was before. And he might well attack here. He's certainly taking a look. Now, which side will he go? He pokes to the right-hand side. Oh, my word. Davison almost comes straight over into him. And Vidamari gets over the curb and into the wall. Oh, no. Spins into the gravel. I saw that coming. He just got over the curb as he braked. Now, will he lose 4th position? Urbanati is the next car on the road. Urbanati, I believe, is far enough behind not to lose a position to. Let's go back and see that again. I saw as Vidamari braked that he was getting over the curb, and I thought that was going to be a bad idea, and it was indeed. Just went into the wall. Interestingly, you see the reflection of the car on the ground, despite the fact you can't see the actual car. There it is as he brakes. You just saw, at that point, when the rear end becomes much lighter than the front, there's no saving it. And the car's just going to go around. And it did. And unfortunately, that might well be Vidamari's chances of a second place finish gone in one clumsy move. So it's Abreu from Davison, Vidamari, Urbanati and Robinson. That's the order. And Thomas Wach has... Did he get past Robinson? I'm sure he did. So Wach dropped behind Robinson again for some reason that I didn't see. Now, where are the gaps in this race, and where are they close? The gap for the lead is 4.1 seconds now, so that's close. There is our leader, Nuno Miguel Abreu, about to go onto the final lap of the race. Out of the final corner he goes, and Abreu starts the last lap, and he is heading for a brilliant double victory. I don't think this will put him into the lead of the championship if Wach finishes where he is, but it'll certainly put him close, and Abreu is a real contender now. Tom Davison is second so far. Of course, Abreu probably would be right up in terms of the championship if he hadn't missed round 3. Let's have another quick glance at the gaps. They're quite spread out at this stage in the race. Here is Steve Serpent, but still, this has been an absolutely amazing Friday evening of racing. Plenty of action, plenty of cars flipping all over the place, and a couple of good overtakes as well. Although they haven't really needed to pull. Oh, as Alvarez goes off, they haven't really needed to pull that many overtakes today because they've all been sliding off all over the place. But anyway, into the final sector comes Nuno Miguel Abreu. Kicks the rear end out slightly, actually. He would have had his heart in his mouth there. But anyway, through the final sector and the final corner comes Nuno Miguel Abreu, and he is going to win both races here. An amazing result for Nuno Miguel Abreu, who is very obviously the quickest driver on this particular Friday. Tom Davison is second. Daniele Vidamari is third. That's not the result he would have wanted to keep his championship challenge alive. Tiziano Urbanati is fourth. Fifth is going to go to Mark Robinson ahead of Thomas Wach. And I don't know who's leading the championship out of Wach or Urbanati or even Abreu. I don't know. I actually genuinely do not know who's leading the championship. Robinson was 5th. Wach was 6th. 7th was Reveda. Steve Serpent is going to be 8th when he crosses the line. So, a much better result than his 13th in race 1. Alexander Meshkov is going to be 9th rather. So through the final sector, he comes for a 9th place finish. 10th is going to David Plummer. 11th is either going to Lee Blackmore or Jorge Alves. This is a good battle on the final lap. Alves took a look to the outside, but Blackmore defended well, although Blackmore slow out of that corner, and Alves is taking a look up the inside. They might. Oh no, they didn't go side by side into the final corner, but they almost did. And Blackmore is 11th, Alves is 12th, and Harry Graham is off and finishes the race 13th and in the barrier. Spins back across the track, bang into the wall, loses his rear wing, but at least it happened after the race, and that very battered car is classified 13th and also scores points. Out of the race, unfortunately, were Bruno Gil and Martin Brandon, but it's an amazing result from Nuno Miguel Abreu, who finishes with fastest lap in qualifying and then both race wins. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, don't go anywhere because we have a couple of interviews to come with some of the drivers. So when we get them in, I will continue with this broadcast. And we do have our first driver in the commentary booth now, who is Dave Plummer. Hello, Dave.
Evening, Josh.
So you're well, I saw you having quite a bit of action in those races. Some of that would have been going to plan, some of it not so much. Would you like to talk us through how that was to you?
Yeah, certainly in parts of the track. It's one of those tracks that it can catch you out quite easily, and certainly in that first sector coming up the hill, I don't know where I was. I just kind of lost where I was in the track 2 or 3 times, and it was myself. You know, it was down to my error to myself, and I took myself out 2 or 3 times.
Oh bother! Right. Yeah, it is a very, very difficult track to make a mistake at. Just how vicious were those curves?
Extremely so. In turn 5, if you touch one of those curves on the outside, those bumps on the outside, you die. And I think that really, really plays a big part of, as you come down the hill, you're dreading those curves and praying when you turn into turn 5 that it grips and you avoid them.
Yeah, well, when the car gets over the curb and then grips, I suppose you just get chucked over. So very difficult. Are you pleased mainly with the results though? It was a decent amount of points in both races, I suppose.
Yeah. The first race I was having a very good race with Alexander Meshkov. We were trading positions very fairly as well. I must admit, I must definitely say a big shout out to Alexander there, because the racing was very, very clean. We both gave each other, I think sometimes we gave each other too much room. And we started again doing that in the second. That was in the first race, and we started doing it in the second race. And unfortunately, I think he clipped the curve coming out the last chicane and went off. But yeah, not too bad a result, to be fair, considering that it was a couple of offs. But it's such tight racing, you know, that one little mistake can cost you a place. But again, I managed to catch up a little bit here and there, and yeah, overall, pretty pleased with the result. Pretty pleased that I didn't die when I came off a couple of times. So yeah, I managed to bring the car home.
Absolutely, and that's the main thing with a race like that, I suppose. I don't know of many other drivers. I believe actually I've just Well, I've just seen a Twitch comment from someone I believe might be Mikkel Nitzio, who says he fell asleep. So that is why he wasn't here, which is a big shame, seeing as he is the championship leader. So, well, I suppose the saying "you snooze, you lose" has never been more true than now. But anyway, do we have any more drivers for the interviews? I don't see any more in the waiting room, but we. Oh yeah, we do. We have double race winner Nuno Miguel Abreu.
Yep. Okay. I shall leave you to it, Josh. And again, thanks for the commentary.
Can you drag him in quickly, please? I can't actually.
For you, sir. Yep.
Yeah, I can't drag anyone into the commentary channel. Hello, Nuno.
Hey.
Can I just say that was utterly incredible? You made it look absolutely easy there, qualifying the race and race 2. I mean, how do you do it?
Well, first of all, good night, good evening to everybody. I really like these cars, and I've done a lot of racing with that, so I kind of know the secrets, if you know what I mean. Because I know how you have to throw the car to the corners and that stuff.
And I suppose running away at the front like that, you don't know quite how much carnage went on behind you.
Well, I was in my pit box with my teammates, and I was listening how they were saying, and it looked crazy. But I could see a little bit of that in race 2.
Oh goodness! So yeah, so that was that. I suppose you sort of ran away at the front. Do you ever feel like it's rather easy?
I don't like to say that because I think that everyone here are giving 100% of they can and are practicing and trying to improve. So by say that was easy, it kind of feels disrespectful. But I was hoping that were a little bit tougher.
Okay, thanks for that, Nuno. I don't believe we have anyone else in the waiting room or anything like that. So I think that was the end of the broadcast there. Also, just sort of looking in the Discord chat, Daniele Vidamari says that he lost the chance to win that race because he started in neutral, which is a shame. So unfortunately, his race was thrown away in that way. Also, Nuno, your microphone's just kind of buzzing in my ears a bit. So
I'm trying to fix it.
Okay, well, if you could mute yourself briefly while I finish the broadcast, that would be
sure.
good.
I think it's better now.
Good, right. But yeah, that is sounding better. Okay, so right. So that was the end of that broadcast. We thank you for joining in there. The people who did in the Twitch and the YouTube streams, and also to the drivers I've just interviewed. It's always nice to speak to drivers after a race such as that. And I must say to all of the drivers who raced as well, that was extremely entertaining, and CFEG always puts on a great show. So that was the end of that broadcast. We will see you in a week's time for a race at the next race on the calendar that you're seeing there, which will be Lime Rock Park, which will be very interesting. A very short track, so a lot of traffic. Very difficult one as well, very hilly. So it will be a big challenge for these GT cars. So anyway, a week's time from today, and I will see you then. Goodbye.